Hello, I am joined by Highlander. Hello, Highlander.
Hello.
Um, so why the name Highlander?
Um, Oddly enough, that's a really interesting question. I growing up, because I didn't have an email until um I think I was like 13, and I couldn't come up with a name because I didn't really have my own computer. Well, I think yeah, I had my own computer a little bit. I would use like my parents' like laptop and stuff for like, and I can use email. So I was like, okay, I'm not very creative with names. I need help. So I asked my dad, and I was like, well, we're Scottish, so why not just Highlander? And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. And then once I got my own computer for using like Steam, Origin, and just other games, I was like, well, Highlander sounds good enough, so we're just gonna roll with that. And that's literally that's literally how my name came to be. It was just from my email address because I couldn't think of anything else, and I'm Scottish, so that's how I got my name. Oddly enough.
Okay, I remember when I created your NA melee card, and I just put like a picture of like a Highlander and like in a Scottish kilt, and I was like,
That
"Is this too literal, or is this like actually proper?" Like I don't know.
um yes and no. When it comes to like the history of like maybe like my ancestry, it could be right. I don't know. I've been trying to look into more of that, but I thought that was hilarious, and that suited very well. You did a really good job on that one, Austria.
Awesome, awesome. So can you introduce yourself to everyone and kind of like what you're doing right now in Holdfast?
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, my name is Highlander. I've been around the community for it's been about 3 years, I would say, and I've been mostly been doing NCO leading and officer leading for about, I would say, year and a half to 2 years on that, and also I've really huge into melee. Um, Started tournaments back in 2018 and just kept on going. And I'll be in the community here and there. Sometimes I'll be inactive on Discord, but currently what we're doing is just improving our leadership in the 4070 currently from in this regiment. So that's who I am.
Awesome. So, what got you into Holdfast, and do you remember your first day playing?
Yeah, so I got into Holdfast because one, I really, really love history. I'm more of a World War II side of things, and maybe a little bit of World War One and Korean War and modern day. But I was watching Angry Joe. He did streams and videos on it, and I was like, oh, this game looks really, really cool. I want it. And I kept watching other videos. One of my favorite videos that I watched was it was like the most inspiring captain ever, or something like that. I don't remember the YouTuber who made that video, but I was like, I was asking my dad. I was like, "Yo, I want this game. I really want this game." So we bought it. I think this was like um mid no, this was like early to mid December, I would say, when I got it. And when I first played it, I had a great time. Just using a musket, stabbing people, Napoleonic era. I thought that was really, really fun, and I enjoyed it. I made my first friend. I think his name was Helix. I think he was in. I don't remember if he was NA or EU. That was a long time ago, so I don't remember. But really good friends with him, and we just kept playing Holdfast together. It was really fun.
Now, I usually ask people how they sort of went from public to regimental, but this is a bit awkward.
Yeah, it was really funny. So I think this was about mid to late December, and I was talking to my IRL friends, and I was like, "Yeah, hey, this game's really fun. I'm playing it." And then I started getting messages from you, Ostro, trying to get me into the in the 77th, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I wasn't like really confident. I wasn't really sure. And then I think you messaged me like one more time, or I don't remember. I don't know how many times you're gonna plan on messaging me, but I remember like the one time you messaged me, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it. Let's get it over with. This guy's persistent. This guy's very persistent. So and I downloaded TeamSpeak, got connected, and got everything sorted out. And I was like, oh, all right, this is interesting.
So that was your first regiment?
The 77th, yeah. I didn't do. I've never played NW. I never heard about NW coming in because I was just an FPS, just an average FPS guy. You know, playing CS, Rainbow Six Siege, you know, all that. I've never heard about like anything like that. Like this was like everything was brand new to me. I had like no idea about any of this. So yeah, the 77th was my first regiment.
So I left on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2017, and I don't know what rank you were when I left. Maybe you were still a private or something.
I think I was around Fusilier. I think I'm not positive on that. I can't remember. I think I was around Fusilier, maybe Footman. I would say.
So I know that you stuck around like a lot longer than I did, and you actually climbed the ranks a bit. So, do you just want to kind of talk about sort of your like rise to power in the 77th?
Uh, yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that without talking about maybe some of the controversial things that ended up happening later on. But yeah, I started getting more into the community stuff, and I started, you know, thinking, oh, well, you know, I'm getting, you know, really excited about this. This is really fun. Maybe I want to pursue leadership stuff because I'm very introverted, I guess. Like I don't like talking to people, and even online, I kind of just don't want to talk to people. So I wanted to get out of my comfort zone and started, you know, being more like kind of outgoing in the community and doing more things. So I was like, okay, I want to be an NCO. So I kept grinding, kept playing, and I don't remember if there were NCO trainings. I just expressed interest and I led my section. I was under Domo at first because Domo was a regular. I don't remember what section or squad he was in. I know it was Company 1, I believe. Um, and I was like, um, maybe I don't want to be in second command of a because I don't remember. I think Domo was like 12 or 13, maybe 14. I can't remember how old he was. And
Speaker Domo, yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
Squeaker Domo, yeah. So I was like, maybe I want to be under somebody else, and I ended up being under. I was under Aries. I wanted to be under Aries because he had a lot more experience with leadership and being an NCO. So I was like, okay, you know, this should work out. So I asked for a transfer and they approved it. And then this was January to February of 20. I think this is like 2018. Yeah. So like about a month and a half, maybe 2 months later after I first got the game, Aries started becoming more inactive. And then I got promoted to regular and I took over the squad or the section, and then I just kept grinding. I recruited people constantly. I think on average I recruited about 4 to 5, maybe 6 people per day. And what's funny about that, and this was when I was a corporal, not a regular, but I just wanted to throw this in because I think it's hilarious. So there's a video out there from Call Me Kevin, I think, is the YouTuber, and there's like a video of me trying to like recruit people, and I think I try to recruit like one of his friends in the video, which I think is hilarious. But anyways, so I just did a lot of recruiting, and I just tried to get better at leading. Then I got promoted to corporal, and then I think after that, I just, you know, like I said, just continued grinding. I don't remember if I ever got sergeant. I think I did. Um, so I don't know. It's kind of like a faint memory. But I didn't get promoted for a while, and then with the whole Jupiter incident, and we decided to remove Jupiter. This was like 20. It was like March.
Jupiter got removed like early 2018, so like
Yeah, like
around
20. Like,
April.
yeah,
Yeah.
like April. Yeah. So um once Jupiter got removed and it was pretty much Glofer and Rub, me and um Ed got promoted to sergeant major, and I was in charge of company 1, and he was in charge of company 2. So, I mean, that's pretty much how I rose through the ranks.
We'll talk a bit about like how it all ended, but I just want to ask you, like, did you have a good time in the 77th?
I did. I really did. I love the enlisted. The enlisted was really fun, just playing games with everybody. I did have some disgruntlements with some of the higher chain of command. I'm not going to go into specifics on that. I'm just, yeah, there were just a couple times where I was not satisfied or I was a little upset with some of the decision making. But overall, the community and just what we were doing, like, it was a fun time. I really did enjoy my time for the most part there.
Uh, do you feel like you owe the 77th sort of like your, like sort of where you jumped off from, like your platform, your foundation of your regimental knowledge? Do you think you owe that to the 77th?
I would say most of it, yes. Because how we led during events, and I could be wrong about this because it's been a long time, but we had 3-man lines, and generally it was either me, Aries, Eagle, and then Ed, and there might be like 1 or 2 other people that would get thrown into the mix, and we would run 3 like 10-man lines, and we kind of worked together. Aries and Eagle have definitely kind of like mentored. They're kind of like mentors, and they helped me out in understanding, where to put my lines. And some of it was also, um, like my person, like just me going out and practicing and continue leading, and also Glofer and the high command. They definitely kind of helped me out a little bit on the leadership as well. So yeah, I would say some contributions. Yeah, I got quite a bit from that on leadership. So
So I don't exactly know what the timeline was when you actually made like the transfer or whatever the switch it was to the 47E, but
that was in June. I officially left and joined the 4070 on June 16th, 2018.
okay. So like was it like a gradual like process, or was there like a breaking point?
It was kind of gradual, I would say. Because the reason why I left was just high command. I just didn't agree with how things were being run. So I was hanging out with the 4070 more often. So I was like,
Like in what regards? Of like murking, or what do you mean?
I didn't murk. I just hanged out in their team speak, talked to them. I asked them how they do their regiment, what how they structure with their leadership and all that, and it appealed to me a little bit more, I would say. So I made the switch because I liked what they were doing more, I would say.
Did Basic Eagle make the switch with you? I'm not sure what happened there.
So um I'll just try to sum it up. I'll try to sum it up really quickly. Um, so, like I said, I had some disgruntlements with the 77th High Command, and me, Aries, and Eagle, we made a game plan to like propose solutions to the problems that were coming up, but we were going to propose to that to Glofer and the High Command, but for the most part, they kind of disregarded most of it. The only one that they really agreed to was training. That got solved, and we were okay with that. But I mean, that was only one thing out of the list of topics that we had. So, um, a couple of days after that meeting, they got banned. So, and I stayed, but my punishment was all my medals were stripped from me, and I had to re-earn all those medals again. So they got banned like a couple days after that meeting, and I stayed for a little longer.
Do you know what they got banned for?
I honestly couldn't tell you. You would have to ask Glofer. I mean, personally, I think it was for a bullshit reason, but that was a long time ago. I couldn't give you like specifics or why. That would probably be more of like a Glover question, but um,
Now
that
looking
happened.
back like at all the regimental experience you have now, do you feel like the demands or the requests you put forward to Glover were like too much, or do you feel like they were doable, so to speak?
Um, when it comes to requirements, it was flexible and it worked out just fine. I didn't have any problems with it. I'm trying to understand your question and try to answer it.
Like, do you feel like you gave him fair terms, with like looking back in hindsight with all the experience you have now of what it like takes to actually like run a regiment? Do you feel like you gave him acceptable demands?
Uh, in that meeting, yeah, I'd say yeah. I'd say they were pretty easy, and there were probably one or two that may have been a little bit harder, but I would say there was like a couple that were pretty easy, and they kind of turned a blind eye to that. So it was kind of unfortunate that that happened.
Well, you didn't sign a contract when you joined the 77th, so you
No, I did
choose what's
not.
best for you, right?
Exactly, and that's why I left was because I didn't agree because like again like I said I love the community, the people there were nice and I enjoyed my time. It's just I didn't agree what how things were being run, so I went somewhere else.
So when you finally landed in within the 4070s, Eagle and Ares were with you?
They were there. They joined, so when they got banned they joined a couple days after. We were originally planning on joining the first FGD, but there was some issues and some disagreements, so we decided to go to the 4070 instead. So after they got banned, they just went to the 4070 a couple days after. As for me, when I left, I took a week break to clear my mind because I was a little depressed. Not well, I shouldn't say depressed. I was just a little upset because I worked 6 months into that regiment with hard dedication, and just leaving that behind and starting something new. I was a little upset, so I took like a week off. I visited my grandparents, and then I came back fresh and I joined on June 16th. So
This is June 16th of 2019.
20, I swear it was here. I'm pretty sure this was 2018.
2018,
Yeah,
2018. Yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm getting my years all mixed up.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm checking the roster, our roster, just in case. Just in case if I mess up. If I mess up, then that looks bad on me. Yes, it is 2018. Yeah, I just checked.
Okay, now I'm a bit confused because I know that in 2018 you had a 70, and this is during the summer as well. You had 77th uh, Merc Highlander, and I think that was when the Austro
Yeah.
Challenge was going on. So, what was that about?
Yeah. So when I made the decision to leave, I asked I asked if anybody was thinking about leaving as well. I don't know why I did that, but out of pure randomness I did. And Hex and Andreas came with me and we left. Now, I want to make it very clear, I didn't reg snipe them. To me, reg sniping doesn't exist. People leave on their own choice. If I asked if anybody wanted to leave with me, they did willingly. I didn't force them. I want to make that very clear. And now what I'm about to say, this is from my point of view, so whether this is right or wrong, don't really want to debate this too much. Glover kind of guilt tripped me a little bit, I would say. And I joined the 77th for like a day or two, then I left, and then I um, uh, wanted to come back to the 77th because, again, the whole guilt tripping situation and all that. So they wouldn't give me a rank. And there was an individual there, I'm not going to name any names, um, that he was trying to get me back in sort of, but they kind of had to figure out like what to do So my only way to, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, and I just started merking for a little bit to see what happened, and it ended up happening that if I were to fully come back to the 77th, that I'd have to be a guard, and I could never be an NCO. And I was like,
Also,
well,
my rank.
yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
forever guard.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like you're either a guard for an eternity or you can leave. And I was like, well, I want to be an NCO, I want to lead, and I don't want to be a guard forever. So I took my 2 cents and left. So and then I took a week break and then rejoined the 4070. So that's why I had Merc tags.
I know I'm a bit confused because you fully did join the 4070, right? So what's with this like back and forth? Like the
Well,
4070 must have not
so
liked that too much.
well, no, that like the 4070 didn't care. It was so I joined twice. I didn't fully join until the 16th. That was the full thing right there. Um, I left the first time because um, I wanted to just do it right there because the longer I waited, the harder it was gonna be for me, like mentally and emotionally. So I left, and then like I said a couple minutes ago, the whole guilt tripping from high command made me leave basically, um, and then uh, there were some more complications. And they gave me the ultimatum of if I wanted to be a guard forever and just not be an NCO, if I wanted to fully join. And then that's when I was just like, no, I'm done. I'm out. So yeah, sorry if if there was any confusion on that. I should have specified a little bit more on that.
Um, so the people that I knew in the 77th, like mostly were obviously Glofer, Ed, Frostbite. I didn't know Tyler too much, but like obviously he existed, he was there. Um, what were your relationship with these guys, Ed, Frost, Tyler?
So, um, and I would say when I was still there, it was all right, but after I left, it pretty much that became really rocky. Same thing for Glofer and Rub, Feudal, pretty much all high command really. Frost at first, to me it felt like it was still kind of rocky, and then over time, we forgave each other and we chilled, and we've been back to being friends. I would say. Commandant's been really busy, so we didn't really have too much talks. So I mean, some of the NCOs like Andreas and Normal. Well, Normal wasn't an NCO. I think he was an officer. Um, it was neutral, I would say. So that's all the people I can remember off the top of my head on that.
Cool. So yeah, let's talk about the 4070. How long were you enlisted for, and like what were like some of your ambitions early on?
So I've been enlisted for I would say like a couple of weeks before I got promoted. They fast tracked me to being an NCO. My goal and ambitions were pretty much where I'm at right now, leading both platoons and being helping out in our leadership, making some changes and improvements. I do all the training, well, not all the trainings. I do the standard trainings while Amit, who's above me, one rank above me. He does the basic trainings for cadets and doing like an NCO program that we have. Um, so that was pretty much my ultimate goal, is just being where I'm at, being in charge of both platoons, doing a little bit of leading, and then um, being in charge of the trainings, especially with melee, getting the 4070 to get better at melee.
Did Aries just quit Holdfast? Because I haven't heard of him like for a
He
while.
no, yeah, he retired. He retired. I think he retired while I was a either a sergeant chef or a adjutant. I think I can't remember exactly, but I know he retired pretty early on. I would say.
It's interesting that he hasn't come back because usually people who have like a lot of power and like a lot of name recognition in Holdfast, like they just take like a few months break. That's really rare that they just like up and leave.
No, yeah, I was kind of surprised too, and there have been a couple times where I've tried to get him back a little bit, but he's, I would say for the most part, he's completely moved on, which I respect and I completely understand. So yeah, I kind of wish he was still here playing, but oh well.
I know Eagle is still around here and there, but I don't think he has like the same responsibilities as you do. So why do you think that he hasn't sort of risen through the ranks like you did?
He's just been really busy, honestly. And kind of how we do things with, or at the time, what we did is if there's an NCO that was inactive, we would move them to corporal. We would demote them to corporal chef as a honorary sort of thing. It wasn't to discourage like anybody or disrespect anybody. We treated that um, as an honorable thing. And he was just super busy, and then he got out of his work being really busy, and he kind of focused on like college and stuff, and he became a little bit more active and became a little bit more active in leading. So he got promoted back to sergeant. Um, but I mean, it's pretty much just kind of off and on with him. Sometimes he's just really busy, and um, he is kind of burnt out of Holdfast a little bit too. So that also didn't really help. But yeah, that's why you don't really see him too much.
Cool. So you have like stayed within the 4070 like from a really long time. Like you got to the 4070 and you more or less just like stayed.
Yeah,
So
pretty
like
much.
have things been really stable or like what's been going on?
Yeah, I would say it's been pretty stable. This I think this was like when I was like an enlisted, or like beginning NCO. I mean, there was like one or two issues, but it wasn't like super extreme or super major. Um, but yeah, we've had pretty much everything under control. And during 2019, um, I call that kind of like the dark age of Holdfast a little bit, at least from our regiment, because we had not a whole lot of activity, and it was hard to get recruits, especially for myself. So I mean, if you would count that as being a little bit unstable, but for the most part, when it comes to like the internals and like doing events and talking to people in the community, it's been really stable. So
Um how would you divide your time there like into stages just so people get an idea of like the time span and any big events that have happened?
um hmm
Because it kind of just like meshes into like one big thing, right? At least from
yeah,
my point of view.
yeah, it kind of does. So like, I mean, the first stage of like my if you mean by like my progress and like just wait, did you mean by my progress or just
Yeah, I guess your progress would like just so people get an idea of the timeline, I guess.
okay, so from when I joined, so June 16th of 2018 till July 15th of 2018, I was pretty much an enlisted. On July 15th, I got promoted to a Sioux officer, which is the first NCO rank. And then from Sioux officer from on July 15th to adjutant, which was October 13th of 2018. Um, actually, no, I'd say December. Because I got promoted to adjutant, which was like for the most part like the last. That's like the most senior NCO rank. And then on December 29th of 2018, I got promoted to aspirant, which was the very first officer rank. And then was able to lead a platoon on July 29th, 2019. So it took from pretty much December of 29 or December 29th of 2018 till July 29th of 2019 to get to lieutenant and be in charge of a platoon. And then I got promoted to captain in December. I don't know the exact day because it wasn't recorded, but it was in December of 2019 was when I became captain and I became in charge of the company.
So from December 2019 till now, there hasn't been any major changes to your responsibilities?
Um, I would say not really. It's been kind of minor. The only like change that I could say that was a little bit more impactful is um after we kind of stopped working with the Seven Foos, our high command's been kind of focused on more of like our platoon leads, and he has a little bit more focus on that because when we worked with the Seven Foos, um, Naster, who's pretty much our battlefield commander, Los or Jev. I think it was mostly Los for the most part. He would be in charge of the Seven Foos groups, and then I would be in charge of the 77th or not 77th, God, 47E groups. And I would lead both the platoons into whatever position that they need to be in. And after after we stopped doing that, my roles kind of shifted because how we're structuring it now is the platoon commanders act as like a company commander. So that's pretty much been like the only, like, I would say major change. It's just how the leadership is when it comes to events and being on the battlefield. So yeah, I would say that's like really only major thing that changed.
Cool. So can you tell everyone like a little bit about your priorities when it comes to holdfast? Because I know you're big on melee, but the 4070 isn't exactly known for melee. Like maybe they are like in line battles and old charges, but like when it comes to like the competitive melee community, 4070 like it, not just not there. I guess would be
No,
the
no,
word,
no.
word to use.
Yeah, you're right. My priorities right now is getting us, when it comes to the melee side, getting us into competitive. We're slowly making our way there. I had a meeting with some of the people. We have some interests there, but I'm trying to build it up. I've been talking with Spitfire, good friend of mine, on some steps on what to do to improve um, the melee a little bit and getting people a little bit more excited into doing competitive stuff. Um, and when it comes to events and other stuff, it's just be a better, pretty much just continue being a better line leader and just being a little bit better maybe as an overall commander at times. Because I mean, sometimes if Naster isn't there, it would generally be me in charge, or maybe Ahmed or Montfort, whoever's pretty much here. I'd be in charge of both platoons and stuff, so being better at managing that. So, but we are getting better at the melee stuff slowly. At least with all charges and events, yeah, we've gotten a little bit better. But I'm slowly trying to push for that competitive stuff, and we're slowly getting better at that.
So has the allure of maybe like a melee hot zone. There's been a lot of different melee hot zones like throughout the years, like 63 or some of them, 45E is one now, KRA obviously. Has that ever like allured you? Like maybe I can do something there?
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much gave me a little bit of motivation. And, oh, well, if these regiments are popping up and doing melee, then I could. But my main motivation as to why I started getting the regiment into doing melee was, again, back in I would say like 2018, 2019. I really wanted the 4070 to be, better in melee just in general, because, even back then, when it came to alt charges, the only people who really stood out was myself, Hex, when he was still here, and Shaq, I would say. and it's like that's just not enough. And I wanted people to, I wanted to incentivize people to doing melee, and it never really worked out until I seen Peep join the regiment. And when Holdfast fully released, we got like a buttload of recruits, and I was able to capitalize on that, get people into melee. And then when Power, or not Power, when Hunter, when he was in the 8th LR and then left and come joined us, that helped our melee a little bit, getting people more interested. And then Power ended up joining at the beginning of this year and helped out with the melee stuff as well, getting people more a little more incentivized. So I'm trying to kind of build up on the momentum that we have a little bit and just keep that going.
Cool. I know that it was kind of a meme like back in the day of like Highlander and Hex are the only 4070 members anyone
Yes, I
ever.
remember that. That was hilarious.
And there is some big picture truth in that because I compare you guys to like the NR9, for example, where you guys are like really good and you're like really putting your all into like these line battles and everyone knows who you are, but like in everyone else, like in the melee Discord, like you guys are sort of alien would be the best term to use. Like you guys are really closed off. So like why do you think that is?
um, I would say because since we're more team, I mean, because we're more team speak focused, so I can say that's a little bit as to why we're getting better at that. Because we have our own Discord. We have our own like 4070 community Discord, and we're actively posting and getting people like kind of interested in playing games with each other and doing invites to certain games like like any of the Paradox games, or Rising Storm, Vietnam, and stuff like that. But at the time, Discord just wasn't really our thing. We didn't really pay attention to it too much. The first time we used Discord was for Mordhau, I believe, because when Mordhau first came out, we wanted to compete and like fight against other groups, but we ended up just keep fighting the 77th over again. So we were just kind of like, this is getting kind of boring. So we just kind of stopped that, and then we did our coalition network with the Seven Foos. Just to friends with everybody, just make it a really big community thing, and we try to promote that a lot. And uh, I would say that had some success, but again, after we've kind of stopped working with the Seven Foos a little bit, the community coalition network Discord kind of dipped a little bit. So we eventually, when we had when we got a bunch of recruits, we were able to make our own community Discord, and we've been getting better at focusing on our community stuff, because usually we would just focus on um, more combat and just making sure our leaders are really good at leading during events. So we didn't really, I mean, we prioritize community as well, but at the time we didn't do enough. But now we're at a pretty good standing on that. So that's why most 4070 members just weren't really. It may seem as to why we were kind of closed off a little bit, I would say. So
I'm not sure why, but there's a little bit of an echo. Like it happens like maybe once per minute. It sounds like you're kind of underwater, like a whale is like doing some weird stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. That's weird.
It's not that big of a deal, but just so you're aware,
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
something
Thank
you
you.
can do. I don't know. Um, let's see here. Um, yeah, so I know that Peep and Spicy ended up joining. I think it was maybe beginning of 2020 or maybe a little bit before. There was a little bit of drama involved with the whole, you know how Getty is with the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how Getty is. I
You
don't
know,
need to.
Getty is.
I think we all know. Yeah.
You know how Getty is. Just nonchalantly.
So, like, do you want to talk about that at all?
Um, all I'm gonna say about that is if you want to know like why they ended up joining, they pretty much it was the same way why I joined was they didn't agree with high command stuff and they weren't being treated like fairly too much, so they came over here instead. That was pretty much it on that.
Did you spot any like similarities between like when you made the switch from the 77th, or was this like a completely different situation?
It was a completely different situation in the sense of Getty being Getty, but it was the same in the sense of because again I left because I didn't agree with how certain things were run, and pretty much that was their same mentality too for the most part. Is they didn't agree with how certain things were run, and they came and they came here. So
Do you think they handled it well? Because like I'm not sure. Like
oh,
there's
they
some
handled it. Yeah,
allegation of poaching going on. Like I don't know.
yeah. I hate the word poaching. I think that doesn't exist. If they leave and go as their own free will, that's not poaching. I don't think that exists. I never understood as to why regiments do that. Because I mean, if you look at other video games in like CS or COD, when they have different communities, people come and go as they please. So I don't get why that's such a big deal. But as terms of like them coping or whatever, they've been fine. Like after they left, it's fine. They didn't have any issues. Everything was all right, and they've been good. Ever since they've been really good. They've been helping us out, and wanted to thank Spicy and Pete for keep sticking around and helping us out in the community. So
Just to clarify, like on the whole poaching thing, I think what most of the community like does not like is people approaching others. Like they're fine if someone approaches someone else and starts talking about the regiment. Say I'm in the 77th right now. Like the 77th would be okay if I came like on my own fruition and I started talking to you about the 47E. But what they don't like is other regimental members approaching, like, say, you approaching me, and then you start planting seeds in my mind. I think that's mainly what's frowned upon.
I just personally I don't see that existing because it's the same thing to me. I think it's the same thing as if you were to come to me to talk about the 4070. Because when I because when Spicy came to me, I didn't like again. I didn't force them. All I said was what we do in the regiment and how we do things, and you're welcome to join. That's it. That's all I said. And if what I heard or if what they heard appealed to them, by all means, because the reason why you would leave is you want a different experience. And I said, okay, this is how we do things. This is what we provide. And if it's music to their ears, then there you go. It's not like I'm gonna force, say, okay, I want you to join or else, or say, spread lies, about, oh, we do this, we incentivize this, so if you join, we'll give you this sort of thing. Like, no, I've never done that. I think that's ridiculous, and I think that's like that part should be kind of frowned upon. But even if I were to like, it's vice versa. If I come up to somebody, and say, you know, if somebody didn't like, or somebody complained to me that they didn't like what was going on, if they're in a different regiment, then I would just, be like, okay, well, what do you want to do? If you want to leave, then you should leave as a friendly suggestion. I'm not saying that they, like forcing them to say, yes, you should absolutely leave. I'm just giving them the option because nobody should be bound to a community if they don't like it. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. Because when I left the 77, people kind of trashed on me a little bit. And it was the same way with what happened to Scar Talon. When Scar Talon left, it was sorry, I shouldn't say any names. But there were some people in the 77th that made fun of Scar Talon for leaving. So it's, just, I don't know. People come to me, I say, this is what we do, this is what we offer, nothing more, nothing less. And if it's music to their ears, there you go.
Yeah, I think mainly the thing people have in their minds is like someone spamming someone's inbox, like, "Hey, so are you gonna join? Hey, so are you gonna join? Hey, so are you gonna join?" Like, I think that's the sort of thing people want
if
to
if
avoid.
if that's the case, then I think that's a complete huge misconception because that doesn't happen. Even for other regiments, I don't really think that happens like at all. I think that's so rare. I could be wrong. I don't know. Um, but I think for the most part, that's completely rare. It's more just, what ends up happening is, you know, they can be friends with somebody in a different regiment, and it's like, well, here's what we do, here's how we do it, and if people like it, they'll go to it.
I think everyone should have the best experience possible,
I agree.
and if that's like, they should be able to pick what regiment that's in. Um, because at the end of the day, you're the one putting in the blood, sweat, and tears for whatever regiment you put it in for, right? So you might as well enjoy your time while doing so.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see here. So you guys haven't really had a group fighting team. I know you guys came close with the whole Seven Foods 47E thing, and
Yeah.
that's a whole chapter we're gonna talk about on it. So like, I have no idea what the hell that was. Um,
Yeah, that
but
was
like, why do you
interesting.
think like the 47E just alone has never had a group fighting team?
It's just lack of interest uh, at the beginning for the most part. And earlier, like I said, that's been one of my strategies. Is just to like incentivize people. Get people thinking about melee and doing like more, start doing like a little bit more competitive stuff. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the only reason why. It's just the lack of interest of doing melee and stuff.
Do you like wish, or we have the RGL coming up? I think this fall. Are you hoping that the 47E might be able to put something together?
Yes and no. I have a staged plan on what I'm gonna do. The first stage is just getting, like I said, getting people into melee, and then start doing trainings and start. I teach them like competitive stuff and like what to do for group fights, but also 1v1s and odd number group fights as well. And then stage two would be like doing scrimmages with other regiments. So like the 63E B team. I don't remember when that happened. I think it was the beginning of this year or beginning of last year. It might have been last year. Um, Dingus wanted me to, put a group fight team together, and we would do like a practice match, and we won 15-4, but it's a practice match. But I started to see that the interest is there because we had 18 people at this group fight, and I was like, holy crap, okay, maybe we can keep this going and see what happens. And the 45E later on asked us if we wanted to do a group fight. I mean, we lost, but um, we still had like 12, 15 people. Like, okay, now I'm starting to think that there's people want to do this. Okay. So the TRR asked us to do a group fight not too long ago. We ended up losing. We only were able to get one round, but it showed to me that there was interest, and I can capitalize on that and keep that going. Now with Power and Thunder leaving, that made things a little bit challenging. But when it comes to the RGL of this year, would we be able to participate? It really depends on how this goes. I want to take this as slow as possible. I don't want to rush anything. I've kind of made that mistake a few times, and it ended up not being in my favor. So it's going to be a little bit of a slow process. I mean, when I talked to Spitfire, it took him 10 months to get TRR into melee a little bit and to continue building on that. So
And
um,
then look where they
it's
are
just
right now, right? So hard work pays
exactly.
off.
It is, yeah. So I'm just hard work. Yeah, hard work will pay off, and it's more like we'll see. We'll see how everything plays out.
I think there's a really cliche saying, easy come, easy go. And if you look at the 12ES, that was easy come and it was easy go. So you've got to really lay down the foundations, right?
Exactly,
There's no shortcut.
exactly. That's what I've been doing.
Um, So yeah, let's talk about the Seven Foods 4070 thing. uh, so how did it start? That's a good just question to
Yeah.
start off with. How did it start?
I don't. Yeah. I don't think it'd be wise for me to go too much into detail, but generally, um, this was kind of when we were thinking about merging the whole merge talks. So Los and I can't remember who else. I think they were like, well, if we think about merging, then maybe if the 4070 and the Seven Foods, we work together, in a in a kind of coalition style team for RGL, then it wouldn't be a bad idea. So we were like, okay, yeah. So we ended up doing trainings, and we had enough to make a team, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it got started. I would say it's just we thought it was a great idea to work together since we were thinking about merging. So
Now, how serious were you guys about it? Because I remember that you guys like even like I was told, I'm not gonna say about who, you probably know who, but I was told that you guys were merging, it was a done deal, and just to in the Maya RGL, the Austro RGL, just like sign us up as like one team because it's gonna happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna happen. And like it was sold as like a done deal to all the other like regimental heads,
yeah,
right?
yeah, how about that? I'm not gonna blame anybody. I felt like it was kind of a little rushed. I would say we needed to slow down, and there were events. I'm not gonna disclose these events, but there were events that took place that um kind of backfired, not necessarily backfired, but kind of hurt the chances, I would say, a little bit of merging. And then there's, you know, one thing that ended up happening, and it just ended up kind of just stopping it for right now, and maybe hopefully pick it up again in the future, or who knows, we'll never know on that. So yeah, that kind of what ended up happening. It was unfortunate, but oh well, it happens.
So it's not like you guys were like lying to me, saying that you
No,
were gonna merge and
no, we were serious. Like, I mean, we weren't supposed to tell anybody. So I don't know how it ended up getting leaked, but we were pretty serious about that, and we were taking slow steps because it's merging is a really big deal, and I've seen other merges before, with the 26th FI, and I can't remember what
IGA
other.
4545E, the best merge ever.
Yeah, yeah. And with the I don't know if it's the blackfish, and like I've seen like some mergers happen in the holdfast community. And to me, people just keep rushing it, and it falls. It falls super quickly. Like you again, like what we said earlier. You got to build a foundation, and you got to keep working on that, and hard work will see it through. So, um, it's just kind of unfortunate of how things played out. So, uh, but yeah,
It is unfortunate that it didn't go through because you guys would be scary if that happened. Especially if Sin came back, like you guys would be scary.
it would have been a little bit easier, especially on the melee side if that happened. But yeah, again, it happens, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah, Reddish is looking hot too. Like, oh man.
Reddish, yeah, me and I, when me and Reddish 1v1, our average fight would last about 5 to 6 minutes per duel when I would go to race or anything like that. So yeah, he's definitely, yeah, he's a guy to watch out for 100%.
Let's talk about the HDL that just happened. Not the EU one, mine, the NAHDL. Um, so I actually kind of forgot. You were drafted by Serb, is
Yeah, I
that
was
correct?
drafted by Surf for the Washington group fight team.
Oh god. Oh god.
Well,
This is gonna be fun.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, that was a really funny thing that happened, to say the least.
Now, everyone that I've asked tells me that no, we did not throw for waiver picks. So I have to ask you, did you guys throw for waiver picks?
No, no, we did not.
So you guys were trying when you were getting stomped.
Yeah, we tried. I would say yeah, we tried. Because we had a whole lineup. We were practicing frequently. and we were trying very, very hard.
It just wasn't happening. Why do you think that is?
Um, I'm not 100% sure. I think it was like some people that we got, they weren't bad, but you know, you can have a super team, but if you don't have the team chemistry and to work together, you're not really gonna win. So, um, not to say that there's anything wrong with our chemistry. It's just our chemistry and stuff was good. It's just we needed to work a little bit better on open melee was one of our biggest problems, I would say, and just calling out things and just being a little bit more teamwork, just a little bit more teamwork. But for me personally, the reason why I didn't do so good was I'm not a group fighter. I never really was. I was way better at being a duelist, and now I've gotten a little bit better at group fighting, especially with 1v2s and 1v3s. But just group fighting in general, that's never really been my forte. And with the tragic end of the Washington group fight team, when I went over, I got picked up on Voss team. Um, I wish there were more practices, but they didn't really practice, so I faltered a little bit on that. But yeah, I would say it's just minor teamwork and just a little bit more mechanical skill. I think, and maybe positioning could have been a little bit different. I don't know. There were certain times where we didn't have our good players on, I think, but again, like my memory is a little faint on that, I would say. So
It just happened.
Yeah, but I don't know. I try to brush that stuff aside. I've been a little bit more focused on college and stuff, so that's probably why my memory isn't
Look at
too
you
great
focusing on real life.
Yeah, yeah. Surprisingly enough. Yeah, hopefully I answered that question as best as possible. But yeah.
You did have a little bit better results with Voz team. Was it cool, like playing with Starblazer, Brad, Alf?
I'd say it was pretty cool. I watched a little bit of our VODs. If somebody ever streamed it, I watched it a little bit. It's just seeing how they played was really cool, and I try to incorporate some of that to my own style. But like I said, my group fighting, it was kind of hit or miss. I was a little inconsistent. I think I ended the game or the end of the season with like a 0.83 KD, which it's not bad. I think that's still really good.
Especially
But
like with like really solid players just all playing in one league. Yeah, it's really hard to
so
go positive.
yeah. So I think I did all right. It's just I use that like Voss team to help test where I should play because I tried playing mid and it worked for a little bit and then it stopped working. So I was like, okay, I should try playing flank, and I played a little bit better playing flank, but overall it was pretty much KD was either even or a slightly plus or slightly minus. So it's just I don't know, just kind of how things played out.
Now, obviously, you did not get to choose at what time like you were drafted. You were drafted pretty high. I think you were 17. Pick number 17.
Serb drafted me pretty high. I was actually kind of surprised
I think everyone was.
because I was like, look, I know I'm good at melee, but this is a group fight. This isn't a 1v1. So I was a little surprised I was up there. I I remember because I don't think when I was talking to Serb, and I could be wrong in this. I think I was supposed to be a little bit lower, but something ended up happening in the picks that they needed to pick me up immediately because Serb saw potential, and that's what I liked about Serb. He was a really good team owner. Like he saw potential and he knew how to work with it, especially with Warrior, who I've trained personally to get better at melee. He saw his potential, and I agree he had huge potential, but been a little inactive here and there. But with the melee stuff, I mean, he still plays Holdfast, but the melee stuff he kind of stopped caring just a little bit. But we had, I had potential, but again, that tragic event that killed the team, and I had to go to a different one was kind of hurt a little bit.
Yeah, we were sort of the guinea pig, so we didn't really have like the EUH deal that happened afterwards. They were building off of what we did, right? So
Uh
when
huh.
you're doing something for the very first time, like you don't really know what the rules are. You don't really know like what
Yeah.
exactly to do, right?
Oh, true,
So
true.
obviously you're gonna fall flat in your face sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
I think you did end the season like number 73 or something, like on KD, and you were picked number 17. So I believe you were actually listed as one of the top three busts of the season.
Which I personally never really cared. With if if it's a bust, it's a bust. It's whatever. But the experience I had was pretty fun, and yeah, my KD could have been a little bit better, but group fighting and 1v1s are two different things. So while I had the mechanical skill when it comes to stabbing and movement, it's just how to incorporate that with like a little bit more people was a little bit newer concepts for me, and I try to work on that. So it happens, but I would say even with the 0.83, it could have been worse. That's all I'm saying. It could have been worse. Uh,
um, so you're really good at melee even right now, right? So I don't think anyone's gonna argue that. Um, but not a lot of people know about you. You're not really like into the chitter chatter that really goes on in the
yeah,
melee.
I've stayed away on purpose a little bit. If you want me to get into that, I can. But yeah, I'm not. I don't really type a whole lot into the Discord unless somebody asks me about or a question or y'all talking about me in the
Mhm.
in the community chat. So
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and explain it. I'd like to see you get engaged a little bit more. But like, do you have like any specific reasonings?
I only have mostly one reason. That's toxicity. I stopped and I left some of the community melee discords. Was I just didn't like the toxicity. It was really rampant in some cases, and especially when the whole skill level was extremely important to a lot of people. If you weren't like high or like even mid plus, everybody just thought you were like super garbage. But like I don't know, I just wish people treated more people with respect. Um, so that's why I kind of stepped away from that. Um, and that's why I don't. That's why I'm not active in the Discord a whole lot. Is I don't like the toxicity. It's ridiculous sometimes, and I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah, we did have that system in 2019. With the whole evaluation stuff, right? Um, that isn't a thing anymore. But we do have like a lot of TRR members. I'll just name drop here that do get a little bit toxic. But yeah, I would like to see you like. Are you like looking to get a little bit more active like within the Discord, or is it just something that you decided?
Um, I'll check here and there. If some like again, if somebody says something about like just melee in general, I might pop in here and there, or again, I'll just generally check. It's because again, like I only really talk if somebody asks me, or if they, if somebody ends up talking about me in the melee chat. But if I see tournaments, since 1v1 tournaments are coming back a little bit, I've been more inclined to signing up to those because I didn't want to sign up to group fights. Um, Mostly because I sucked, but I mean the only way to get better was to do them. So um, I was a little hesitant to doing the group fight stuff. So maybe not. I mean, it honestly it really depends. It's mostly because I don't have anything really to contribute. I guess the only thing that I really ever really contributed when it comes to the melee stuff is how to make it better, which I posted a suggestion um, in the Holdfast Discord actually for server side melee, but um, will that ever happen? I don't know. I don't know if it would fix it. I mean, I would think it would, but I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
So the we had the Kumite. I think
Yeah.
that was the first like big 1v1 tourney in a while,
Yeah.
actually.
Yes, it was. Yes, I remember that.
So like, what were your like ambitions, your expectations going into it?
Well, without me sounding like an egotistical moron, I kind of expected, based on the people, to at least make it to the top three, or if not win it all. But I got blindsided by Equal. Um, Equal, I want to blame the game a little bit, just because there were attacks that you physically just could not block, and he developed a kind of like a crouch stab that kind of breaks the animation a little bit, and I physically could not do anything. I mean, I have really fast reaction timing. My average reaction timing is 200 milliseconds, which that's average for people at my age. But I was expecting to take it top three, which I think I ended up doing anyways. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you beat Patty and you came third place.
Yeah. So Patty, I didn't expect Patty to be where he is at right now either. I don't know. There are some people that I underestimated, and that kind of bite me in the butt a little bit. So I need to be a little bit more careful with that. The Cluck Cluck one, I wanted that one to go on a little bit more, but his internet was terrible. But even when his internet was good, he was he was a really good opponent. I mean, we've always 1v1 each other for a while, so we always know we both know how each other plays. So I kind of wanted that game to last a little bit longer. But oh well, it ended up happening. At least I didn't get that second round curse like I did a while back.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
You also fought Paprika. I don't think Paprika posed much of a challenge for you. Do you remember that fight at all?
Yeah, Paprika, his melee style, because I'm not used to fighting Paprika, because he doesn't really show up in the servers like on the same time as I do. It's kind of hit or miss. Um, I wasn't used to his melee style a little bit, but to me, the biggest thing in 1v1s, and for me, that kind of depends on like how good you are, is how well can you adapt to the situation. Because to me, 1v1s is a lot more of like a mental game, and just how long can you last, especially with the current melee, because blocking, you can block every attack pretty much seamlessly, I would say. So yeah, that one caught me off guard a little bit, but I held my composure and I just kept going, and just ended up winning that one. So
Um, you were actually one of three people who competed in this kumite, and also the first one, the original one.
yes, I
Um,
did.
so in the original one, I'm just looking at the results right now. Um, you beat Harry. He was EU. You beat him 20-4. So obviously, I'm not expecting you to remember every single detail, but like, did that give you a confidence boost at all?
Um, I would say yes. This is like, because this was like the first tournament that I've been a part of.
A lot. I
If
think it was the first tournament that anyone had been a
yeah,
part of.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, my memory's a little spotty on that one. So yeah, didn't mean to sound like a retard on that, but yeah, it gave me a little bit of a confidence boost, because when I was in the 77th, and when you were there, I remember we dueled a lot. Well, not a lot, but
Are we gonna
we
talk
dueled.
about that infamous, that infamous match?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple times where I think we did like a first to a 50 or like first to 100, like once or twice. But you definitely helped contribute, to me to get better at melee, and to see the fruits of your labor, I guess I would say, in that first match, it was definitely, I would say, like a confidence booster, definitely.
And then you get to the second round and you fight Grims. Um, and the result was 20 Grims and you 9.
Yes.
So how did you feel after you got knocked out?
I felt bad, but I also felt good, because I don't know why I remember this. And again, I could be wrong, but I knew there were several people who said that it was going to be a complete wipe. It was going to be a 20-0. And I got 9 kills. So to me, that felt a little good. Good. Felt, yeah. Yeah, it made me feel better. And I was like, this isn't over. You know, I'm sure that there'll be other tournaments that, you know, just keep improving, keep going, and just constantly practice, just constantly grind, which I ended up doing anyways because I have no life. So, um, but yeah, I was a little upset, but I, you know, kept my head up and just kept going.
You've signed up for the upcoming 1v1 leaderboard tourney.
Yes, I
Um,
did.
so are you looking to make it past the second round?
I hope so. I really hope so. I must have not read it or not paid attention to it. So if I, you know, if this is a stupid question, I apologize. But is there going to be a bracket for that coming soon, or is it just going to be random? I wasn't 100% sure on how that worked out, but if it is a bracket, then I can analyze and see. Hey, you know, maybe I could make it past the second round. You know, we'll see. But hopefully, honestly, the reason why I signed up was just, again, I only really mostly sign up tournaments just to get better. If I win, that's great. But I'm kind of doing this one as a challenge because personally, I actually do not like the XMG or the I don't like modern melee, and I hate that. And I don't want to go off to a too long rant, so I do apologize. I just there are certain attacks that you just can't block, so I just kind of, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't block like certain attacks, and I just thought that was kind of stupid because that happens a little bit less in the normal, I would say. So I'm doing it as more of like a challenge to see how that goes.
Yeah, I know with crouch stabbing on modded melee, it's like a nightmare trying to block that. It seemed hard for you to block it up with Echo on standard, right? So
Yeah, so we'll see. I've been practicing here or there. Not as maybe not as much as I should, but if the I don't remember if the melee match is getting scheduled to next week or not because of Easter weekend. But I'll definitely I still practice before trainings for events. So it's not like I don't practice at all. I do. It's just I don't want to burn myself out too much on that.
so for all the Zoomers that don't know, um, Highlander participated in like a bunch of tournaments, like normal tourneys, unrestricted tourneys, and you kept getting knocked out in the second round every single time. You were actually knocked out in the second round by me in the Goobers tourney. Um,
Yes. I remember that one made me feel really good though, even though that I lost, because the fact that I got 4 rounds on you,
it was like 7-4.
yeah, the fact that I got 4 rounds on you, it definitely showed that I'm getting better, and then I'm gonna keep going. But the thing that I wanted to bring up, which I think is interesting, is yes, I did lose second round a lot, but if you looked at the people that I was fighting with and my current skill at the time, they were twice as hard of an opponent, but my losses were not big. Like they were close win losses.
Oh
So
yes, yes, very close.
and oh sorry, go ahead.
I actually remember. Do you remember the mini tourney?
Which one? I'm
It had
looking
4
through.
people: pepperoni, you, I think Fanta,
Oh
and
yes, yes.
yes,
I
the
remember
mini
that.
tourney.
Yes, I remember that because that was the mini tournament that got us into the second Kumite, if I'm not
Yes, yes, the
mistaken.
second
Yes.
Kumite. You had a heartbreak with that. You fought pepperoni, and I think the
It was
final score was like,
1919, and
yeah.
then Pepperoni took it. And then I 1v1 Hazen to replace him, and I ended up winning 10-6 or something like that. So that was
But
hilarious. But
that's
yeah,
not where the heartbreak ended because I think you fought Coach, and then, or maybe it was someone else.
it
But
was.
you,
Yeah, I lost first round against Coach. It was 10-9.
yeah, you had 2 heartbreaks in a row.
Yeah. Um, I really don't know what to say about that. I mean, Pepperoni. Okay, with Pepperoni, his skill just skyrocketed. I remember when he first started playing when we were in the melee arenas, and I was like, oh, this guy has potential. This like this guy's freaking god tier.
That was back when Twitch
Um,
spins and everything were
yeah,
possible, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and he was just like it was hard to compete against him. Now with coach, I think that had to do with more like my skills just weren't there yet. Like it was getting there, but it wasn't there yet, and also my nerves for tournaments was still there. I think I didn't break my nerves until I would say the King of Fighters. I think was when I broke my nerves pretty much. Um,
I know that you won a normal tourney. I think it was before King of Fighters. Do you remember which
yeah,
one that was?
that was normal tourney. I think it was number 4, I believe. I'm scrolling back just to check. So if it takes a little while, I do apologize. Let me see. Because I think there were ended up 5 or 6 normal tourneys, and I lost the first one against Caleb, and that was 10-6. Um,
Oh, third normal tourney. First place
okay, so I
Highlander.
was third. Yeah, so I think the first one I lost to Caleb, and Hex ended up winning that. I think. I don't remember the second one. I tried to find it and I couldn't. But the third one, um, yeah, that I got my breakthrough on that. I think that's the first tournament that I actually broke my second round curse too, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong in that. I don't know.
You beat Dingus 20-9. Damn. Do you remember that match at all?
Yeah, that match was kind of a meme. I'm not gonna disclose all what happened, but we were actually both in the team speak together talking to each other. So that was a casual match, and I thought that was hilarious.
Did Dingus throw or was he trying?
He was trying a little bit, yeah, I would say. Now whether he threw or not, I'm gonna neither confirm nor deny that. I'm not gonna say that. So you can take that as you will.
Well, he seemed to have won in the fourth normal tourney, so he got his win.
Yeah, you got to shit together. I would say, yeah.
Uh,
um,
so what was he gonna talk about? Something about attorney. Oh yeah, the King of Fighters. Who knocked you out? Because you fought me third place, but someone knocked
Pepperoni,
you out. Oh, was it Pep? Oh,
12-3. Yeah.
12-3.
Yes.
This was
Uh,
peak Pep too.
yeah, that was at his prime, right up there.
So
Um,
unfortunate that I didn't get to fight him. I wanted to fight him so badly.
who
This
did you ended
was
up fighting? Oh,
so yeah. My match was against Dingus. I guess Dingus was practiced more with shoving, and I was, I was even a boomer back then, and I was like, shoving. What is shoving?
I hated shoving, dude.
Yeah.
I hated that so much. God.
So I'll sum my match up by saying that I got shoved, and I think it was a close match. It was like 12-9 or something like that.
Against Dingus. Yeah, 12-9, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I got shoved, and then like I was expecting to at least get to the finals and getting all that prize money and everything. So that completely morally drained me, and I had to fight you right after. Like I didn't even have a break in
Yeah,
between,
no
right?
break. Yeah,
No
just
break,
immediately.
my complete adrenaline dump, right? And then
Yeah.
I have to fight you with that retarded ass upstep spin.
I don't know how I do those. I to this day I don't know how I do those. It just happens. Like I couldn't tell you how I did that. I really didn't. I think it's just the timing on when I did my feints on those up stabs, maybe. It just came natural because people always talked to like there were a couple people that talked about like, that it's freaking whack. So I was like, well, if it works, it works. I'll just keep doing it, and I somehow just memorize the timing sometimes, and it just happens. I don't know. That's so weird. I wish I would. I wish I could see like somebody's perspective on what it looked like because I don't think I ever did.
It's just
Um,
really fast, and you just have no clue it's coming. Um, I think that match was really rough for me. I think I lost like 12-5 or
it was
something.
12-4.
12-4. Oh my god. Ouch.
I think if you would have gotten a break, it would have been close. I couldn't tell you who would win. Um, I think it would have been close on both sides though if you had your break.
You know, I remember actually beating you in the practice match before that, before like right before
Yes,
the
I
tourney.
remember that. Yeah, because I needed a warm up, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Ostro, let's go."
I beat you, and then we fight in the third place, and I get completely dusted.
That
Um,
was funny.
so like, what are your future plans? Is it just mainly getting that group fight team together, or what do you
Yeah,
think?
like I said, it's mostly just getting the group fight stuff. For me personally, just keep working on melee. Just keep signing up for tourneys. But yeah, definitely slowly getting us into doing more competitive. I kind of because I had a meeting with some of them. My old time like just my like the ultimate goal is to do an RGL, whether it be yours or Star Blazers, whoever, um, and just having a team and actually compete. Now, when it comes to win loss, I'd expect maybe just I don't know that one's really far away. But my timeline was either depending on how this year goes, maybe do one this year, but hopefully or yeah, hopefully next year's RGL be able to sign up. So yeah, I'm slowly trying to work on getting us into competitive.
Cool. I think we are at the end now. Is there anyone specific in the community that has influenced you, or anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, thank you, Ostro, for helping me get into melee and become a sweat. Um, that was
For
definitely
chasing you out of
fun.
spawn, getting
Yeah,
you into the
yes,
77?
yeah, yeah, that was hilarious, and it also, yeah, definitely getting me into regiments and stuff. Because, like, when I talked to my friends, I didn't think I was gonna take this seriously, and then a few weeks later, I was like, yeah, this is something I can continue doing. Also, just thanks to people in the melee community, who I've dueled and who I've practiced with, helping me getting better, helping me learn a few things, and just obviously thanks to the 4070 and obviously and the 77th High Command as well, with helping me lead, getting better at that, and especially special thanks to Helix as well. I really wanted him to join a regiment, but he ended up later in the future joining the KRA. But first friend that I made in Holdfast, and yeah, I was glad to see that he was sticking around here and there. So definitely shout out to him, and yeah,
Awesome. This has been the Highlander interview. Thank you, Highlander.
yes, thank you for doing the interview or whatever. It's great to not very often that people get to ask me to do interviews or stuff because not that many people do it. It's mostly you, so
I'm
it's
the
been fun.
interviewer.
Yes, you are. So yeah, I do appreciate it. So
Awesome. Goodbye, everyone.